All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a massive tectonic shift in geopolitics, a scenario being called the Great Reset in the Middle East. And really, it's a fundamental rewrite of the entire region's operating system.
And look, if you take away just one thing from all this, it has to be this phrase. This single quote just perfectly captures the whole story. A half-century of brutal conflict giving way to a new era of pragmatic, interest-driven peace.
So the big question is, how on earth does that even happen, right? How does a region that seems locked in these forever wars suddenly pivot to a future of cooperation and, believe it or not, tech integration? Well, the answer comes down to a single explosive event.
As you can see here, for decades, the region was really defined by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and its mission to export ideology through proxy wars. But in this scenario, a massive military operation in 2026, codenamed Epic Fury, just completely shatters the IRGC's core. That single event is like pulling the pin on a grenade, you know? It's what unlocks this great reset and kicks off a totally new order.
Okay, so let's dive into this. Because with that old power structure just gone, 4 ancient nationalisms have evolved to fill the void. And their new identities? Well, they're the building blocks of this new Middle East.
First up, Persian nationalism. The old Iran, right, it was all about exporting its Shia revolutionary ideology. But the new Iran, it's all about Iraniats or Iranianness. It's this huge shift away from religious extremism and back to celebrating its incredible ancient Persian heritage. It's about focusing its super-educated population on tech and energy to become a real secular powerhouse.
Next, the Kurds. You know, for so long, they've been seen as the orphans of the region with no state of their own. But in this new world, they emerge as these incredibly pragmatic heroes. They've basically traded the dream of total independence for powerful autonomy inside a new federal Iran. They're not just fighters anymore. They are the stabilizing guardians of this new order, and they act as a crucial buffer.
And then you've got Jewish nationalism, which is obviously embodied by Israel. For decades, Israel basically had to operate like a besieged fortress in a really hostile neighborhood. But now, its role's completely flipped on its head. It's become the region's go-to technology and security supplier, trading its advanced defense systems for diplomatic recognition and real integration with its Arab neighbors.
And finally, Arab nationalism. The old version was this kind of pan-Arab idea that was mostly held together by its opposition to Israel. But the new Arab nationalism, which is led by countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, is all about national development. The number one enemy is no longer Israel, it's economic failure, it's instability. Their entire focus is on prosperity.
Now, what's so fascinating about this slide is how it maps out this new web of interconnected self-interest. Seriously, nobody is doing this out of pure friendship. It's a what's in it for me kind of deal. The Persians want tech, the Kurds want stability, the Israelis want legitimacy, and the Arabs want to build a capital-driven economic network. It's a game where for the first time, everyone actually benefits by playing along.
So how do you actually enforce a new order like this? Well, this is where it gets really clear that this new peace isn't built on trust. It's not built on shared values. Nope, it is built on cold, hard technology and a shared security setup that makes the old ways of war pretty much obsolete.
At the very heart of this is something called MEAD, the Middle East Air Defense Alliance. Think of it like a regional NATO, but specifically for missile defense. You have Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Jordan all plugged into one single AI-powered network. This becomes the hard security backbone that replaces all the chaotic proxy wars of the past.
And the way it works is just brilliant. A threat is launched, right? The AI network instantly, and I mean instantly, shares the tracking data with everybody. And then the missile gets taken out by whichever country's interceptor is in the best spot to do it. It's the ultimate team defense, turning a bunch of isolated states into one network shield.
But this is the real game changer, the economics of it all. The old way of defending yourself was firing a $50,000 interceptor missile. The new way, powered by Israel's Iron Beam laser system, costs about $2 in electricity per shot. $2! I mean, just look at this. This chart shows just how insane the economic imbalance becomes. When it costs your enemy tens of thousands of dollars to attack you, and it costs you $2 to defend yourself, you have fundamentally broken their entire business model of war. This tech makes regional aggression just economically impossible to sustain.
So that's the security. On the economic side, the foundation is another revolutionary technology called SCO2, or supercritical CO2.
What these are small, modular, and incredibly efficient power generators. So for a post-war Iran, this means they don't have to rebuild these massive, vulnerable power grids. They can create decentralized energy fortresses, giving them energy sovereignty and fueling their reconstruction.
So, here's the crucial point. You combine this laser defense shield with this new decentralized energy, and what do you get? You get an entirely new foundation for peace, one that has absolutely nothing to do with ideology.
It's what we've been calling a transactional peace. Stability isn't coming from nations suddenly deciding they like each other. No way. It's coming from the fact that everyone is making way too much money from shared energy projects, tech deals, and new trade routes to even think about going back to the old ways. Profit becomes the ultimate peacemaker.
This table right here, this pulls it all together. It's the whole story in one snapshot. The driving force shifts from ideology to economics. The energy logic goes from vulnerable pipelines to resilient SCO2 fortresses. Iran transforms from a regional destabilizer into an energy hub. And the US, it shifts from being a ground troop firefighter to more of an offshore tech and maritime guarantor. It's a complete, total paradigm shift.
But hold on. Even with the IRGC gone, the story isn't over. This great reset might solve the problem of state-on-state conflict, but it unleashes a brand new internal war, a war inside these societies.
And this new war, it's best described as a battle of prosperity versus nihilism. It's a fight for the hearts and minds of a generation that was literally raised on conflict.
Which leaves us with the final defining question for this new Middle East, doesn't it? The old order is gone, but its ghosts are still hanging around. So, can the promise of a stable job, a good salary from SCO2 technology, and all the opportunities of new trade, can that really defeat the pull of extremist ideology? That's the battle that's going to decide whether this transactional peace can actually last.